everybody to our virtual reception for Pain Points. This is our long-awaited national exhibition presented by Women's Caucus for Art. It is really, truly an honor to have everybody with us right now, taking advantage of the technology that we have available to really celebrate. This is a powerful collection of work. First and foremost, thank you for all the artists who participated, anybody who supported the process, our community, everybody's participation, and your belief that this vision was going to come to life. And, we understand National has been probably a little over 3 years since we've had a national exhibition. So it was really important that we made sure this got done, that we made sure that we saw this through. And despite whatever hiccups that may have happened along the way, this exhibition committee has lots of tenacity, lots of focus, lots of love for one another, that we were going to see this thing through to the finish line. So Pain Point speaks to the challenges that we carry, that we confront, that transform us through creative expression. The work presented here reflect deeply personal and universal struggles. We're navigating identity, injustice, trauma, healing, and everything in between. And so when we look at this exhibition, you can see it really offered space for truth-telling, for witnessing, and for connection, which is exactly what Women's Caucus for Art and what we stand for. So I want to thank everybody for being here, for holding space for these stories, and for helping us amplify the voices that need to be heard. And we are super, super proud to share this moment with you. So I'm going to ask everybody to mute their mics and to hide their videos. We want to make sure that we have enough bandwidth to share slides, to be able to go into the virtual exhibition for us to see and share without too much interruption. So I'm going to take a minute to share my screen. Perfect. All right. So again, welcome to Pain Points, our virtual exhibition, reception and jurors talk. And you'll see that this first image that we used for some of our promotions was done by Mary Sherwood Brock. Hopefully you all have had an opportunity to visit the virtual site. Jenny, if you could please hide your video and mute your mic, we appreciate it. Thank you. All righty. So again, welcome. I am Sandra Davis, the current president for WCA from 2024 through 2026. And it looks like I got to keep admitting people in. And our exhibition committee members are Sarah Ernst, exhibition chair, Allicette Torres, regional chair for the Northeast, and Amanda Banks, our VP for special projects. The jurors are going to take the time to go through this list, these 10 images, as well as 2 that were added recently. And we invite you all to put your comments in chat. And once the presentation is over, we will allow some Q&A for you all to ask questions of the jurors. And we'll see what kind of time that we have left. And again, thank you all very much. And we'll get started with Amanda and Allicette. But I do want to take a moment to let Sarah, our exhibition chair, share a few thoughts. Sarah?
Hi, thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate the introduction. So I have been on the exhibitions chair for a little under a year, and a little bit of background about me is that I'm actually a museum exhibition curator. So I came into this so excited to get this going, and it was really a rewarding experience, and I say that genuinely. There are so many hiccups with me learning the platform, and every time somebody reached out for help and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you again," it was just, you all were so gracious in your correspondence with me, and it was just really lovely to feel like I was helping people be able to get their documents to the right place. So thank you for all of your patience and good job, amazing work. And I'm excited to see this talk.
And I'm going to start off with Allicette and Amanda, and we'll get through the slides at first. And so you all, let's have a conversation about the work that's being presented and whatever commentary that you want to add, anything that you wanted to.
Thanks, Sandra. Let me give Allicette a second to unmute and join me.
I'm here.
Awesome.
So how do you want to do this, Amanda?
Well, I guess, yeah, I'll talk about this piece and why I really felt connected to it, and we can kind of share back and forth. Does that work out?
Sure, but this is my piece. Don't make me fight you.
I adore this piece. When I first saw this, I said audibly in my room behind my computer, yes, oh my goodness. It's just such a powerful object to view in the space and to see the connections. For those of you who haven't had a chance to tour the exhibition, dig into it, this charred wood was gathered from the ocean and bound together with salvage materials after the Franklin and Palisades wildfires. And these were people's lives. This was hopes and dreams that are no more, but have been pulled and turned into something else. And I think that's one of the most beautiful expressions in the show.
So for me, sort of writing on Amanda's comment, for me, putting this into the show was sort of let's talk about it in sort of technical terms first, is sort of piercing that idea of everything has to be flat, right? Everything has to be a two-dimensional piece in order to be in a virtual reality exhibition. And I felt like this was one of those pieces that could sort of break that norm. It's very easy to see and be enraptured with this piece. Its tactileness really comes through visually. You do want to touch it. You can understand it. You can smell it. It's very strong. Like you can imagine your hands touching it and feeling it. You can smell the wood. You can smell the char. You know exactly what this is. And then by being able to see it and understand it, that tactileness that you can see through the screen, it has this visceral, at least for myself, it has this visceral nature of sort of living inside of you. I've actually felt very haunted by this piece. I kind of came back to it, back and forth with this particular piece. And it's haunting. And there are people who say these exhibitions online don't really hit the same way. And as a person who curates and juries a lot of exhibitions, I have to push back. Sort of the more I explore and curate shows that are in this medium, the more that veil is sort of melting away. Also that process of reconstituting from what is broken, and it's something that is repeated in this exhibition in different fragmentations by the membership, which is again interesting. But I think this one is like decidedly, I would say, the lead in doing that transformation. You can really see it of taking what is broken and reconstituting it. And it's imperfect perfection, by the will of my hand. So it's like the goddess divine in this really different transformative way.
I love the way you say that, by the will of my hand. Oh, goosebumps.
Oh, and Yeah, this is you, but this could have been my selection for the talk. But go ahead.
This one, I can't get it out of my head. I just love this piece. It's so simple and so powerful. I encourage you to please go and read her statement. Again, it's simple, but it's powerful. And I think the thing that really captivates me about this is anyone can see themselves in this work. It means something to everyone. And that's what this whole show is about for me. Every piece that came through was meaningful and allows us to connect with each other no matter where we're at. And I love how Anne has done that here.
Yeah, and I have to say that I cheat, in the sense that I know so many of the artists that submitted, and Anne happens to be one of those artists, and she has this uncanny ability of sort of getting underneath the thing, underneath the idea, underneath the issue, the problem, the vision, and it is unnerving. It is not in an ominous, scary way. It's in that quiet, subtle way of what did I just see, right? And to ruminate of what is going on. And this is sort of that quiet art, that percolating, quiet, not percolating, that soft soft simmer. And I do see myself projected in this as a person, and that doesn't actually happen for me a lot. I'm actually quite jaded, those of you who know me. So I do find a lot of very much seeing myself in this piece, and it's kind of like you want to walk into it. So yeah.
Right. This is another one. They're very close to each other in the gallery, in the installation, because I think that they complement each other very well. This piece really helps tell the story of who we are. We go through a lot of things, but we are strong. And we do have the power to change things. And so many works of art in this exhibition spoke to that, spoke to taking things into our own hands and creating things that work for us and that keep us going when we face adversity. And I think I am a sucker for, black and white pieces and just the graphic imagery of that. But this one is another one I could stare at for hours.
Yeah, this one is I actually find this one a bit painful for me. And it's the kind of stuff that I kind of like want to look away. I find this one difficult. And it's also one of those fragile, tender, it rounded out the exhibition. I found a lot of the works very strong. Women were trying to be like, I am assertive, I am woman, hear me roar kind of thing, not in a tropey way. But I did find the vulnerability of this, and it says soy fuerte, which I'm strong, but it's sort of like this, I don't have to be, chewing someone's head off in order to emote the strength. So I think in these days of having to be that every woman, that strong every woman, that vulnerability is sort of scary to me. But I think it needs to be that present in the exhibition. Like, it is a facet that does need to be present. And this was a very much you selection in this exhibition. This is decidedly a you selection.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I think it's very interesting that this piece makes you uncomfortable because of that, gentle vulnerability. For me, that's what I think I'm drawn to so much is there's a power in that. And I love to see that power out there. Here's another one that was a me selection. When I was installing the gallery, I put the images up on a slideshow so that I could get to understand how they spoke with each other. And this piece called Patience is a scene that I've seen over and over and over again. And I'm someone who was raised by grandmothers, and watching, women wait for change to happen and wait for things to improve. On one hand, that's like heartbreaking. And I see that heartbreak in this image. But on the other hand, there's also a woman who has put a process into motion, and she's being patient and she's waiting for it to come to fruition. And I also see that here. And I think the brushwork on this one too is very intriguing to me. I can, again, stare at it just all day.
Yeah, I would start there with the technique of the work, and overall it was astonishing, not surprising, but nevertheless astonishing, the range and strength of the technique of all of the submissions. And this is really a good compositional, technique wise, beautifully executed work. And also, like Amanda, I too was raised by my grandmothers. But for me, as a person of color and as a Latina, this is a normal experience for us, like grandmothers looking out of the window. And it has a positive connotation, just as what Amanda said about this sort of waiting. But there's also there's the negative and the positive, like the waiting for the grandkids to come back, the daughter to come back, the for it, whatever the boomerang is, that coming back. So for me, I sit with both, right? The patience of, will it be good or will it be bad? Will my child return to me? Will they not? And so I feel like it straddles that thing, the sageness of that woman or that person, the embodiment of wisdom. So for me, this is the embodiment of wisdom. What will return from the effort that I've cast into the world? That's kind of what I walked away from this piece. Yeah, I think it's powerful.
This is a piece that I think we all kind of wanted to talk about, everybody on the exhibitions team. Deborah's submission was so difficult to choose which one to include. They all spoke to a different aspect of this. And what put it over the top for me was the video component.
Yeah. Is there no way to have that? Because I feel like the photo does not do justice to the video component of this exhibition. So it's a mobile that moves around in order for you to see this. It's like a 3-dimensional mobile.
If you give me a quick second, I'm gonna try to share it again, okay?
One of the things that I really loved about Deborah's work is the way she uses materials. I am very much a found object artist, and I love her eye for color.
Yeah.
On these
color composition.
Yeah, and the different material textures, the way that she combines them, it's just very engaging for the way that I think and the way that I process.
Agreed. And I think there's also like a restraint. So there's like a push-pull, there's a restraint. It doesn't go into hysteria. But it's macabre is not the right word, because it pulls short of that. And so it pokes at you like with a pin, right? It's annoying enough to bother you. It's like unnerving, right?
Yeah.
It's not a horror movie because of the colors, right? it's like you know. And so I'm sorry for the lack of technical words right now. They escape
You
me.
ready?
Yeah, like play it. It speaks for itself. And so by having this in the inside the exhibition, again, I feel like it's able to pierce that wall of it being in this digital space. I think when you look at it inside Kunst Matrix in the gallery, you really feel it. I feel the experience of it. Like a real, you know, as if you're present in it in a physical sense. It's just slightly different, right? And so I feel like it had to be shown in this environment. And again, I urge you, I know we keep on saying this, but go to the gallery itself for you to see it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yes, it does. Yes, it does have lullabies. So the other layer is that it does have lullabies. So again, it would be great to hear that, because again, it adds another thing.
It really, the lullabies are what really clinched it for me, was
Yeah.
watching it and hearing the sounds play. I think my kids maybe even had this mobile that's being used as the motor. Like it it's just so powerful. And I'm so grateful to Deborah for sending this our way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there was a comment asking if we're seeing guns. Yes, there are little toy pistols tied up in with this. And it's, please go to Kunst Matrix and view it. It's worth it for sure.
Yes, please. Please.
All right, let me get back to my other screen. Yeah, that one unnerved me. So I'm sure everybody felt chills. And again, I know we keep talking about going to see the exhibition, but you actually have to sort of look at it, make the screen larger, and sort of feel that music. Like I literally could feel chills and the hairs kind of stand up. So let me get back to my screen share here.
And while Sandra's getting that pulled up, I do want to say too, when you go to the exhibition, you walk through it like you're in a gallery and you see the different works of art talking to each other and playing off of each other. And with the platform, it's, I think, really the next best thing to being together in person.
Yeah. Yes. This one, let me bring up my notes, because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. Where are my notes? That's Sam. You can't really see it right here, but this is glassine paper. So it's better to see. I think you can see it a little bit better in the exhibition. And it's acrylic, and it really has this it's sort of this, it's another way of seeing the pain points, which is the thematic of the exhibition. And it's sort of it's an abstract way of seeing exactly what the whole exhibition is about. Is it a map, though? Is it a key? Is it, you know, an abacus? Is it a folding of time and space? Is it us? Is it, if it were red, would it be counting our periods? Is it notches of death? Is it, so in this way, for me, it's an abstraction of everything, of womanhood, of so many things. But basically, in my view, it's cataloging in a way, visually, in an abstract way, the whole exhibition and or the embodiment of womanhood in this delicate glassine way. It also looks like barbed wire. Again, it is all of these facets of womanhood. It's wrinkled, it's age, it is like old leathery skin. It even goes back to me, for me, one of the things that I felt was, and it felt right back to the Holocaust. It felt right back to how are we processing now this sort of new Holocaust on women's issues. I mean, it ties into all of this fragmentation and accordionness of time, how where we think we get stretched really far away from it, and then it compresses and we're right back in the same position, right? Yeah, it gives a caged feeling, agreed. So this is really, for me, it was really, when I first saw it, I was just like, oh my God. For me, I was blown away by this particular piece. Amanda?
So this piece for me hits so many of my data nerd happy points. For those of you who don't know, I'm studying to go into economics, and I work a lot with data, and I study intersectionality, really, and how the things that we do and the systems that we're a part of impact everything else. And this piece is so representative of that. You know, the folds and the creases, if you trace them, where do they go? Where is the end? Where are they intersecting? And can we do anything with those points of intersection? I adore this piece. I'm so glad that Holly sent it. This is another one that I pulled up to talk about. It pulls me back over and over. It's simple in a way, but then when you look beyond the still life, what's captured? What's the story that's captured? And it's watching the women in my life in these scenes and seeing this same story over and over again. And the colors, I feel, there's just something about it that speaks to me and brings me that sense of connection. You know, it's, I think, stunning.
Again, there's Amanda one, but the thing that was compelling for me in this piece was actually the composition of the work, the color palette, the usage of the space itself. Again, for me, when I'm looking at the work, it starts for me with composition, cohesion, all of that, you know, art, school stuff. That is very important and also drives everything within the work. Also, it's also the thought, emotion, all of those things are valid. But with looking at the work, it's also important to look at all of these details. And I really feel that the artist's intent is also pushing through in the color cohesion, in what they're pulling, in the regimented lines and the angles and the position of the fruit and what's happening. And I think that gives the work and its intent of the work, the 6 days adrift, and all of the little finding where's Waldo, right? All of the data that's happening in there, it amplifies the intent of the artist, right? So the technique drives the intent. And that to me is what is most powerful in this piece. Okay. So this one for me is incredible for a bunch of reasons. Let me just go back to my notes just to make sure that I say everything that I need to say. We're 79. Where are we? 79%. So I don't know if you guys, how many have seen this, but she's left 21% of the surface vacant, which is the systematic devaluation of women's work, women's artwork. I think it's always timely. It's ridiculous that this is where we're at as artists, as women. But it's also important to understand where we are right now in terms of the political climate, as if we were at 79% and things were looking up for us, this square is going to get larger. And this should worry us. And so, and the calmness of this painting, of this work, and the beauty of this work, and the technique of this work. And if a man did this, okay, I will tell you that this would be revelatory. Even if a man did this about the same topic, commenting about us, he would be so celebrated right now. And the ridiculousness of that, I can't begin. I mean, you all understand this. I don't need to gild the lily on this. Yes, shaking my head, Kelly. Agreed. But the incredible powerfulness of this piece encapsulates, again, because we're talking about pain points from this exhibition. This has been a thorn in our side our whole existence as artists. We have been fighting this battle, and it doesn't seem to relent. And the artist could put the canvas on fire. The artist could put so many, yeah, the rectangle is a pale flesh tone, absolutely. The artist could do so many things. They could scream a rebel yell. They could do so many things, and yet it is composed, it's tight, it's angular, it's square. I find it so I lack the words because I feel like I will not give it justice. This is painting above everybody's pay grade. And again, I have to say, I've seen a lot. And this is painting above everybody's pay grade. And I have to say that we are lucky to have this in the exhibition. And I'll leave it at that. I mean, I have a paragraph. I'm actually writing a piece for our blog Art Insights. So that's kind of what I'm referencing about, because this for me is one of the, like, if I had money to just say I'll take it, I would take this.
This is right up my economics alley. That's the whole reason I'm study what I study, is because of this disparity and just the thought of what we could accomplish with 100% of the picture. And this piece, you know, it's 79% of a view from an Alabama street. I've lived in Alabama my whole life, and it goes so far beyond what's on the canvas for me. And it talks about the experiences that my community went through, and goes through every day. Because, you know, in Alabama, we are at the bottom of the economic pyramid in the country by any stretch of the imagination. So a dollar here has to go real far. And I love that this canvas shows you just how far it has to stretch. And when I saw this piece come through in the submissions, immediately it was a yes for me. I knew that there's something really special here.
I did want to say one more thing about the work, is that one of the things that I think has taken some time for us women as artists, or women identified artists, is that it's taken us a little bit of time to understand that we have to demand our worth, and that we have had to put it in dollars and cents. We sometimes put ourselves second to everything, and we don't say we want, we expect, for many reasons, because we're just like, we understand, we want to be in the show, or we want to have exposure, or we have all of these different things. And I think that there's an aggression also in this piece to say, no, this is what you're doing. This is what you did, right? And it's like showing it right, bald face. And I think that in that sort of no nonsense, plain as day, this is accountability in a way that a lot of times women artists don't exert, and still don't feel safe in exerting because they worry about the rest of their career. And I think that's also why I feel like it's so compelling.
This one is another one that I mentioned. as someone who's going through the education system right now, this piece was really powerful. And it's something that is echoed a lot in the conversations that I have with members and with other people out in the world. The value of a woman's education is so questioned, especially when you're in the humanities, especially when you are trying to go into education. It is another one. It's almost like the artist says it's vilified in the community. And the work here, the way that the technique that she has used to get this image onto the canvas, it's meditative. And it brings me into that place of, yes, there's this negative connotation and the people who look down and say, well, what are you going to do with that degree? But then you're meditating. What am I going to do with this degree? How am I going to change things? What is my driving force? And I love that she has captured both of those thoughts in this canvas so powerfully.
I would agree. And for me, the view of this piece is a little bit a bit more distant. This one wasn't the one I picked. So again, this is all Amanda. But I enter this piece in the sense of when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, my grandmother said to me, is this going to keep you warm? What does this matter? And so in this way, this piece speaks to me from an intimate space. And I'm starting to hear this again, what is the value of a degree? Which is, it's incredible how history definitely rhymes. It doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. We think we're done with the lesson and we can move on, and we find ourselves sort of backsliding. And I think that this is sort of a rebel cry, like, yeah, there's value in education, but it's also, we're kind of going backwards at the same time.
This one I felt was really important to close out the show, and to be the image that viewers in the gallery are left with. I wish we had space to put all of the images that were submitted along with this, because there were several detail pieces that came through. And we are erased systematically. Women of color are erased at a much faster rate than women who look like me. And it's important that we talk about that. And it's important that we allow people the space to write their pain out and to voice what their experiences are. And this piece, it's in your face and it's loud. And I love that, because we do need to be in your face and loud about what we're going through.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we just had two women, two influencers that were murdered on the internet for being women. Just no other reason than being women online, murdered. It boggles the mind. It doesn't make sense. Other than it makes sense that we live in a patriarchal society and women are a threat for being women. And yes, this is prevalent in of color communities, but this is not uncommon in Appalachia. This is not uncommon. It's important not to play the game of, oh, it doesn't happen here. It happens everywhere. And it's important to say that it happens in all communities. It's happening in my next door neighbor. It's happening all over the place. Women are being violated, murdered. And, now we're going back into a time where it's going to be dangerous to say that. Why? Right? And so I think it was essential to sort of circle back and talk about this particular thing, and that it's scary. It's scary. And for me, it's scary because I don't have words for the young women in my family. Like, I can say, I did this when I was young, but how do we impart wisdom to 15-year-olds when they're terrified and they look at the news and then they don't see sort of the mobility, right? That's something. But Sandra, don't forget the ones that you didn't get. So
I got them.
okay.
Let me stop sharing for a second and I'll go to that screen.
So hers is a unstretched canvas, right? So it's a digital representation of her, but it's an unstretched canvas and mixed medium. And it's a body that is in collapse and reconstitution. And let's see. It's embedded objects, intricate thread work, and handwritten text that is invisible at standard resolution. And she's processing trauma, and she's not making into a narrative. She's exposing structural properties, hypervigilance, disassociation, and internal surveillance. There are places where the surfaces have been cut and reconnected with deliberate, uneven stitching. These interventions are not decorative, but functional and necessary for the piece to hold together as an all. It doesn't solicit empathy. It asserts its presence. Sam says, I am not my traumatic moments, I survived them. And so for me, and this is a fairly large piece, for me, it's again the embodiment of one person, one individual in these facets and fragmentations. But I think that's the lived experience of women. And again, the lived experience when we think about pain points. And there is sort of no begging, there is no mea culpa, no plea to anyone. It's more about the internal self. And I think that not only is that beautiful, but within the context of the style and methodology of her work practice, I think it's formidable what she's done here. But again, you have to go to the gallery to look at the work to get the impact of what is going on in this work.
I am so fortunate to know Sam and to be in a chapter with her. And I am constantly blown away by the work that she does and how open she is about what she goes through, because there are so many people who hide these things and create all of these different coping mechanisms that really don't work in the end. And Sam is about being healthy and being yourself and moving through life as it comes and just embracing it. And I love her to pieces. And this work is truly incredible. If you're someone who does, fiber work in any capacity, it mind-blowing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let me go to the next one.
And let me just say, this one is Sarah Ernst, who is the exhibition's boss, but she's there because this piece. I think it's beyond excellent, and so we must talk about it. So there's no nepotism or whatever the word is. To me, technically, this is really incredible. But I want to talk about what's happening here. So she's illuminating how fear has evolved beyond evolutionary reflex into cultural currency. How we purchase it, rehearse it, domesticate it, package it into productivity apps, insurance policies. The painting is visceral. It's a visceral large format oil. Rejects technically virtuosity for something more unsettling. It fractures decorum, which is the point. Ernst isn't really depicting monsters. She's mapping the cultural apparatus that makes fear both palatable and profitable. Her work interrogates when genuine threads receive. How do we manufacture new terrors to maintain our sense of aliveness? So, for me, there's a complication in here, but something that I think we're all familiar with this, the monsters, the monsters, and fill in the blank like a Mad Lib. And that's what I think Sarah's doing here. And in this really incredibly just layered methodology, again, utilizing technique, utilizing form, just going above and sort of beyond. Like she's working on a sort of another level that I think is ingenious to have this complicated conversation, but hitting all these different metrics. And I was very bowled over by this work.
I think you say that exquisitely, Allicette. The longer that you look at this piece, the more time you spend with it, the more layers you see. Yeah. And that is what really spoke to me about this particular piece. And I mean, the sentiment of Plan fucking B again. It's something we all have experienced before on so many levels.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have started with the name. I'm just because I've been, we've been living intimately with all of the work. But yeah, Plan B again, like fucking Plan B again. Yeah. And I think that there's so many with that name, it's so many potential double entendres. You know what I mean? Like what could that possibly mean? Which is again the effectiveness and all of the titles. Also, 79% of you from Alabama Street. All of the names are very pointed and specific, and just also like a hammer on just function, so yeah. And I just also need to note that we just pulled out the pieces that sort of like poked at us, but that's not to say that other pieces were not like I could have included every single one. Like I could talk about every single piece, to be honest. That's how hard we looked at these, and we talked about these and went through these with a fine-tooth comb. I will say that in particular, there's one thematic that we haven't discussed that I think was essential, and Priscilla Atani talks about it in her particular work. I didn't bring it up mostly because I think that we should have an exhibition that particularly talks about what she talks about. And I'm sorry that I'm like circling the drain on the meaning here, but it has to do with who's a citizen and who's not a citizen and who's at risk of losing their citizenship. And I think that just touching on that, like with a drop of water, is not sufficient enough. And I think we need to circle back to some of these conversations that came out of this exhibition, and refocus and center about what are the conversations that we're having. Either local chapters should have exhibitions. I found Priscilla's work, this coming out of like some sort of purse. I found this incredibly powerful. I'm also going to say Maddie's piece, something in the Seven Dwarfs or something like that. The thematic on sexuality, again, is something that also can be discussed at length. So like I'm saying, there's so many powerful pieces in here. I think we can now move the discussion to broader topics. Sandra and Amanda, if you want to do that. But I just wanted to impress upon the group that there's too much work to sort of detailed piece by piece. That's how incredibly amazing the work is. And I'm so proud to be part of this organization and be overwhelmed with the quality and caliber of work, from the theme to the technique. And it's not only from our old legacy members, but yeah, we got work from 20-year-olds that I was just like, how old is this person? I got to go back to school. That's how incredible the work was. So you guys are tremendous.
I'm gonna take a quick minute and I'm gonna share my screen one more time and start at the beginning of the exhibition so you all can kind of see how to go in and navigate a little bit. I know we didn't really show that at first, but I wanted to make sure that Amanda and Allicette had an opportunity to really dive into the screens and to the very specific pieces that they wanted to take a look at. Who's sharing screen? All right, can you all see the gallery?
Yes.
Perfect. So you would start here to start the guided tour. And it literally takes you through. And you can have it on a timer so it just sort of moves along. Or you can go in and look at it individually and you can look at the list of the artists. But this is a nice way to go through the gallery and you just let it move forward all on its own. And then you can see all the work that Amanda put in curating the pieces, which pieces sort of spoke to one another in gallery space. I'll play this one.
Yeah, this one's good. I wish we actually had more video artists.
This is another one too. The sound, it adds just another perfect layer.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is excellent work.
And then this is the other way that you navigate it by hitting the next button, or you can put it back into the automatic video. This was a powerful piece too.
This one was on my list to talk about, and it didn't make the final cut.
And this is the room that you were talking about with some of the other black and white pieces.
Yeah. One of the things that I really loved about the virtual gallery is that we had enough space, one, to include everyone, and really show that there's room for all of our perspectives here. And two, this first room that you go into, there's a little bit of everything, a little bit of all of the themes from the show. And then as you move through the gallery, you get kind of concentrated bursts of people talking about the environment and about bodily autonomy and about just their experiences as people. And it really allows for a lot of storytelling in that way.
Well, yeah, the pacing is like a syncopated rhythm. It's really it's a really beautiful that you go through each gallery and you feel and you see. If again, if you go with deliberate intent. I do know I got a few comments from a few people that it's a disorienting experience if you're not accustomed to this environment. But I think if you go back a few times and pause, because it isn't a game, like it's not a video game, and it takes a little bit to orientate yourself in the space and in the room, and get used to the controls, because you can look decidedly at just one object. You don't have to look at all the objects all at once. You don't have to tour the whole thing all at once either. And you can actually blow up the work, and you can click on the work, and when you click on the work, you can see the bio of the artist, and you can see the write-up of the artist specifically, more than what you're seeing right now. And then you can also download a PDF of all of the works, so you can get more intimate with all of the pieces. So it's a little bit different than a regular gallery exhibition or going to a museum, where you can have a little bit you can have intimacy with the work in a way that you can't. Obviously, this can't replicate an experience in a museum, but what it offers is something completely different. Another way to process art.
All right, so I think we have times for additional questions. Did anybody have any specific questions to ask Allicette, Sarah, or Amanda? You can raise your hand. There's 48 people online. So
can I ask a question? I still cannot find a way to get into the virtual gallery. Can you kind of direct me to which page or which link?
So if you would go here under exhibitions,
Come on. Okay.
it's literally right there. Sarah Snyderman has her hand up.
Yeah, so when's this going to become a physical exhibit? Like, that's so easy to do.
Well,
That's it. You don't even have to answer the question.
I think it's important to talk about now that we do have this really powerful example of what we can pull together. This is something that we can take to universities and to galleries and create that physical embodiment of this exhibition. It may look different, and I can't promise you any timetables, but it's something that we have thought about and we would love to make happen.
Hi, I'm Lisa Grand Murphy. I'm one of the artists. Actually, I'm here with my mom, Alma Grand, who is also one of the artists. But I'm going to actually, less a question and just more a comment. I'm going to congratulate both of the jurors, because I felt like there was such a strong connective tissue amongst the pieces in this exhibit. And whoever made the decisions about which pieces were placed where, and I know that's a challenging thing to do and exhibit, but it seemed as I went through the show, they were in dialogue and conversation within the room. And then as I moved from room to room, I brought pieces of that conversation with me. So it's a shout out to both of you, because I know how challenging that can be. And I'm just going to mute and listen to any.
I have to comment to that. The main crown of the pacing in that room has to go to Amanda. The pacing really was set by Amanda. She was very invested in that dynamic, and she was the one that burned her eyelashes off regarding that. So she's the boss of that.
Oh, thank you, Allicette. And thank you so much. Hearing you say that, it really means a lot. I take the work very seriously. You know, every person who submitted work has a story to tell. And the way that our stories interact with each other help us connect and help us move beyond a lot of the pain points that we're sharing. And I'm really glad that that came through and that you took something so positive from the show.
I've got one thing to add, and I should have said that in the opening comments. But one of the opportunities that we had for this exhibition was to actually help support one of our chapters. And if you all remember, the $10 submission fee, we're going to help our Southern California chapter help whatever members needed assistance after the fires. And so not only did we have this amazing group of work that was presented in this show, we were able to connect with our sisters in Southern California and offer them $1,055 to go towards their chapter to whoever may have a need. And so I have to say thank you to every single person that submitted to this show. And I feel that small doses of each one of us created this huge thing. That is an incredible testament to our organization, to each and every one of you all who participated in this exhibition. So I have a huge, huge heartfelt thank you to everybody that had anything to do with this show. And so I should have led with that, and I apologize that I did not, but knowing the strength that we have in the organization that we have speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I would love to add to that. It was so amazing to see all the people. That's okay. It was so amazing to see all the people that were submitting and saying, like, I will submit again and pay a fee again because I really would like this money to go to this cause. And people saying, like, sharing their personal stories about how they had been infected and that's why they were contributing. And it was just very heartwarming.
Alicia?
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here and be in this community of love and understanding and unconditional acceptance and healing and voices and support and art and all this great energy that we just have in our not only the DC chapter, but across the nation in our organization, our association. And Sandra forgot to include herself and all the hard work that she does relentlessly. And I don't know how she does it. I've seen her overcome so much or go through so much and yet still include others. And that speaks to what Allicette said in that, her determination in that we are not deleted, we are not erased, we are included. It speaks volumes. And I just want to commend her as well as Allicette, Amanda, and Sarah, and all the other artists. I want to commend all of us because, I'm all for making statements. I'm all for speaking up, and I'm all for being transparent and for healing. And this is how we heal, by coming together. There are no disagreements. There are no disparaging remarks. There are no, oh, that didn't happen. There's no like, oh, you're making something out of nothing. This is just a community. We're here with our art. So congratulations to everyone that represented and decided to also make a contribution to artists in California who are suffering in ways that we don't know. But I don't really think that we're doing justice enough, nor can we, by saying how great this time is together. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thanks, Felicia. Virginia Moore.
Hi, everybody. I am so proud to be part of this show. And part of it is when I was coming of age, like in my 20s, which was a long time ago, this organization was just starting out in New York. And I remember seeing about it. I lived in a little rural area in Western Pennsylvania. So I saw this ad and in one of the art magazines that I used to see in the library, but I was too far away. I couldn't participate. And then I moved to Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, about 15 years ago, and I started
a friend of mine has been a part of this for a long time, Roz, and she told me about it, and I was like, I wanted to do this, a long time ago. And I just had wonderful experiences there. And now here I am in California. I am part of the Southern California because I came here, I came here to visit my kids, fell and broke my femur and my wrist. And now I could never leave here. It's so great. And my kids are here. So I just want to thank everybody. I mean, this is really, I feel like right now, this organization is really maybe more important than ever. I do. So thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Lucy Julia Hale.
I have reached the biblically promised 70 years, and this exhibition is a beautiful milestone for me. I thank you so much for it, and I would love it if I think it could be taken to colleges and other places, and could it not be taken as a video that then the place would present it that some way that someone else wouldn't have to wait that many years to see it. But thank you so much, all of you, and it is it's beyond healing to me. I have always been an activist, and I have been treated rather gently sometimes and very severely others for that. And I feel so supported by WCAM. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Do you all see other hands up? Let's see.
Oh, Kelly.
I just wanted to say, as a political leaning artist, it's nice to have venues that will accept the work. So I appreciate that. Like making statements like Felicia Reed said, it's nice. It's a gamble now to put that out there, and I don't expect anything when I submit, but it's really nice to find these venues. So thank you for that support and being brave.
Thank you. Allicette or Amanda, do you all have any additional comments or thoughts that you would like to share?
I just personally would like to thank all of you guys on the team. You guys did a lot of work, and I'm very proud that we've now launched again exhibitions, and I hope we can keep the ball rolling. I can't wait to the next in-person exhibition, physical in a gallery where we can not touch the artworks, but you get the feeling, you get the idea. I also hope that when local chapters have exhibitions, we can go and support the local chapters and have big turnouts as well. I think that's important. I also want, since we're all connecting here and we're all artists, I think we need to have the opportunity to support each other, especially in these times. So we do have outlets. I want to remind everyone that we have Pulse, which is our e-blast. So you should let people on Pulse, and we have a form on our website so that you could submit your events, what's happening with you, so that you can gain support from your membership, which is us. We need to stay together. We need to support each other, and I can't impress that upon everyone. Even if you think no one's gonna show up, give us an opportunity to do that. If you don't want to send an email, if you think it's too late, send me one. Depend on me, and you can depend on other people on the board. But look, my personal email, I'm putting it on there because, like I said, you think I'm being hysterical? Think I'm hysterical and send me the email anyway.
I love it.
Yeah, two things can be true. I can be hysterical and you can still take my help. And also, if you want to see more programming like this, you can be permanently part of the exhibitions committee. Give us 2 hours. Give us 3 hours. Sit in on a meeting, listen, give an opinion. That helps us too.
Amanda?
I mean, it's hard to follow what Allicette said because she summed it up so perfectly. Being a part of a team at the national level, right? You know, I've sit on a few different committees, and it's such one, it's a personally rewarding experience because you're getting to be around all of these women who just care about the same things that you care about, and who are excited to help others out. But also, you're helping this organization in a way that I don't think that it's really evident when you first start getting involved. The work that we do really it creates opportunities for people all over the world. And when you can, you know, help out by writing a letter or connecting with someone locally, small things are what create the big difference. And I would love to bring more people into committees so that our work can reach even farther. This show has been such a powerful reminder that we are capable of doing so much in this community, and we can really be a positive force for change. Thank you all for answering our call and for showing us who you are and what's connecting all of us. It's brings me a lot of hope. After the end of this, that's what I leave Pain Points with, is hope that we've got this.
Well, I think both you and Allicette summed it up quite well. And again, I feel like, you know, once upon a time, the chapters were having everything in person. The monthly meetings were in person. All the exhibitions were in person. Well, now that we have technology available to us to do these virtual exhibitions, most of our meetings are now virtual. So you don't have to get in your car and drive 45 minutes to get to the meeting after you've been at work all day. You can get home, change your clothes, sit in front of your computer, and join a meeting. The strength of us is what's in this room right now. The strength of us is you having a voice. The strength of us is volunteering for a particular committee or a particular project. If you know somebody who has an amazing program that you attended, send that information over to us, and then maybe we can share it on a second Saturday, right? Maybe you've got the amazing program or project that you would like WCA to know about. You could possibly host a second Saturday. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. We want to see what everybody's doing. The way we continue is that you continue, right? The more work that's being done, the more work that gets shared, the more we get to keep growing, the more we get to keep doing. So we really, really appreciate everybody being here this evening. And thank you all for participating.